Top 5 Horrifying Monsters in Literature. Number 5. The Giant Squid, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, by Jules Verne. Captain Nemo's underwater ship, Nautilus, is equipped with the world's most advanced weaponry for the 1800s, including electrified bullets. But near the end of the novel, Nautilus is swarmed by a school of pupas, which is the French word for octopi. It is almost always translated as giant squid because one pupa in particular becomes entangled in Nautilus's propellers, and the crew has to go topside and battle it with axes, harpoons and knives. Verne never gives the squid's size, but implies it. One of these animals, only 6 feet long, would have tentacles 27 feet long. That would make a formidable monster. While battling it, the squid manages to grab up one crewman and drown him, then devour him before the others chop off its entangling tentacles and drive it away. The real horror of this monster is that Verne was always interested in being realistic in his science fiction, and giant squids are real. Now have photographic evidence, and the largest species is believed to be at least 40 feet long, with the muscular strength to crush a small schooner like a tin can. Its tentacles are lined with serrated teeth and sharp hooks that can slice human skin like a razor. They have the largest beak of all animals, large and strong enough to bite off a human hand. The largest recorded specimen weighed 1,091 pounds. Number 4. The Minotaur, Greek mythology. The Minotaur is a cross between a human and a bull, and the story of its creation is a lot of fun. King Minos had a wife and queen named Pasiphae, whom Poseidon cursed with lust for a giant white bull he sent to Minos' island, Crete. Pasiphae would dress provocatively and saunter past the bull, but the bull didn't care at all. So she whined to her husband until he ordered Daedalus, his captive engineer, to build a huge, hollow bull for Pasiphae to climb into. She did so. They wheeled it into the bull's pasture, and he promptly had his way with her. Their offspring was so monstrous and evil, devouring every human he could get his hands on. So Minos ordered Daedalus to construct a giant labyrinth in which the Minotaur will be housed and unable to escape. In order to keep the Minotaur from trying to find his way out, Minos orders 7 men and 7 women thrown into the labyrinth every year to keep the Minotaur content. The Minotaur is finally killed by Theseus, who uses a ball of thread given to him by Ariadne to find his way out of the labyrinth. Number 3. The Wendigo, Algonquian mythology. One of this lister's favorites. The mythos surrounding this monster varies with each tribe of the Algonquian languages, among which tribes are the Cree, Ojibwa, Montagnais and others. As cited on Wikipedia is the Ojibwa description of the Wendigo. Gaunt to the point of emaciation, its desiccated skin pulled tautly over its bones. With its bones pushing out against its skin, its complexion the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into their sockets, the Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from suppurations of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off a strange and airy odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. The Wendigo is a horrifying cannibalistic apparition that devours humans, and can assume their form in some of the tribe's variations of the mythos. In all Algonquian tribes, any human who resorts to cannibalism will turn into a Wendigo forever. The best part of this mythos lies in the Abenaki tribe of Maine and eastern Quebec. They feared the Wendigo because it would attack sleeping campers at night out in the wilderness, and Maine and Quebec have some very wild wildernesses, and cook and eat them feet first. Everyone in the area would hear the victim's eerie distant screams. Number 2. Pennywise the Dancing Clown, It, by Stephen King. Just one more reason not to like clowns. Tim Curry's portrayal in the film version is outstanding, but the book is 100 times better. This is King's absolute pinnacle of scaring people. Pennywise is the name by which the monster goes when in the form it believes will entice most children to come near it. It has been around for millions of years and arrived on Earth from an extraterrestrial origin. It appears to a person in the form of whatever most terrifies him or her. If a person, especially a child, does not know, at first, to be afraid of it, it appears as a clown to lure the person closer. It hibernates for some 25-30 years and wakes up during some horrible catastrophe or act of violence. It assumes the form of anything it wants, in order to terrify human beings, especially children, whose fears are easy to manifest. But its most common disguise is as a clown carrying balloons that float against the wind. It's first seen as the infamous sewer scene, in which it stands up in a rainy sewer while little Georgie Denbrough is looking for his toy sailboat. Pennywise offers him the boat and balloons, and when Georgie reaches in to get it, Pennywise rips his arm out of the socket and devours it with horrible, ragged lion teeth. Georgie bleeds to death in the gutter screaming in agony. It appears later in life to Georgie's brother, Bill, as Count Dracula with razor blades for teeth, and chops its jaws together on its own lips, slicing them open inches from his face in a library, just to horrify him. All it wants it to eat people, and people taste best when they are terrified. It delights in causing as much psychological, emotional and physical agony in people as it possibly can. The human mind can, only in terms of fear, approximate Pennywise's true physical form. The most common human fear is arachnophobia, and thus, at the end, to the grown-up children who pursue it into the sewers, it appears as a very fast, gigantic, black spider with enormous fangs. Number 1. Scylla, the Odyssey, by Homer. Scylla is also one of the great stories of Greek mythology, but Homer, whether man or committee, so popularized the monster that we think of it in Homeric terms. The story is a metaphor, similar to that of Daedalus and Icarus, for following the middle ground, and not veering too far one way or the other. In the Odyssey, Circe informs Odysseus that his route will take through the Strait of Scylla and Charybdis. Charybdis is a huge whirlpool that will sink his ship. It will be better, thus, for him to sail closer to Scylla and lose a few men, rather than all of them. This he does, and Homer sings. Gasping, they squirmed as Scylla swung them up her crag, and into her cavernous mouth she gobbled them up raw, howling and flailing their arms at me. Scylla's appearance is horrid beyond reason: 4 eyes, 6 necks stretched long like hungry half-feathered chicks, huge, nasty heads, with 3 rows of ragged, sharp teeth in each, 12 tentacle legs, and a cat's tail with 6 dog heads blistered out around her waist.